All right, fellas, live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And good morning, golfing world. Welcome to Monday Morning Golf Wrap here on TGD today with Hugh Royer III. Hi, Hugh, baby.
Hello, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Well, a couple things exciting happened this weekend. First off, I want to thank Eddie and Ryan and everybody out at Shasberry. The Saturday golf group went out and played Shasberry in great shape, dude.
Good. Yeah,
really good shape.
David's probably one of the better superintendents in the area, and he does a great job with those greens and all he has to do with them. So
Super shape, dry, played the ball down, didn't have to pick up anything, wipe any mud off of it. Greens were rolling perfectly. They were like 9.5, 10s. Good stuff. And then we had the Geritol match of the century yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
Geritol. We need to tweet this out. Where's Big D at? We had the Geritol match yesterday. Myself, the Godfather, with HR3 against Charlie Moore and Jim Fellner at Crow Creek.
Yep.
We teed off at 7:30, bright and early, and went out, and for 17 holes, just beat each other right in the forehead.
I mean, it was dead even. I mean, it was just dead
even match.
Nothing going on, and then
we'd have a birdie here, a birdie there, a birdie here, a birdie there. We were just topping one another.
Yeah.
Several holes par. Ended up, you had to make par just to cut the hole. And what a great match it was. So much fun. Played in 3.5 hours, 3:20, something like that.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the Godfather with his 19 handicap was barely able to hold his own. But we ended up having a blast. It could not have been more fun on a beautiful golf course and with a beautiful weather day. It just –
Well, I mean, we played the ball down at Crow Creek, and, I mean, it was perfect.
Yep.
The golf course is in great shape, and, thanks to Jimmy Biggs and his crew and his folks out there for taking care of us. And, again, like you said, we played so quick. It was like we never had to wait. We just teed it up and go.
Blew out.
Yeah.
Just had a fun time.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I just hated losing.
Yeah.
We ended up losing the match, folks.
On the last hole.
Last hole.
Yep. I misread a putt, and then Jim Fellner made it. So.
Jim Fellner made his birdie. Myself and Charlie made par. And Hugh just missed his putt. But Jim center cut his to win with a birdie, going one up in the match on 18. And ended up losing both the backside and, of course, the match.
Yeah, well,
so
we'll get another shot at that.
Yeah. I will do everything I can to get that $10 back out of Charlie Moore's pocket. I can tell you that. Is Charlie Moore not an impressive player?
Oh, man, hits it he doesn't miss fairways. It's frightening.
We played the black tees. So, it's not like it was playing long, but it was long enough to where you had to catch everything.
Yeah.
And Charlie Moore, he is the epitome that you got to take a pillow out with him because he's going to bore you to tears.
Oh, yeah.
He hit 14 fairways, folks, yesterday. 14 fairways. He never missed a fairway. When we thought he was going to run off of one by a yard, it came back into the fairway.
Yeah.
So, great weekend of golf. A lot of fun watching both the European Tour and Wentworth, which that golf course just holds its own. And then all of a sudden, you get a Korean kid that just starts blowing everything out and ends up shooting 21 under par.
I couldn't believe that. I mean, that golf course is not hard as far as – you can put it in fairways and whatever, but it's hard to score on.
It's a shot maker's course.
It is. And for this kid to go out and shoot 21 under par on a golf course that it really, you look at some of the bigger names, they struggled.
Oh, yeah. Well, the longer hitters struggled.
Yeah.
Because who finishes second? Miguel Angel Jimenez.
Yeah.
At 15 under par.
Made another hole in one.
He's 6 shots back. Yeah. That's his third for the year, dude, on television.
Yeah.
Not bad.
But, I mean, it's just –
Miguel's just –
I like one of the comments I heard this weekend, George, the simple fact that, Harrington said it and a couple others, but they were like, "What? Go to shorter, tighter golf courses with more rough, and then you can create a better golf tournament."
Exactly.
And I think he hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, exactly he did. You bring much more of the field, which this is proven point. Hun comes out of nowhere and ends up winning this thing at 21 under because he was playing his irons just like lasers. He was just directing it at the pin and just letting it go.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, look at Colonial. 12 under par wins Colonial. And, I mean, that's an old school, not a very long golf course.
Well, that's true. Of course, the conditions weren't exactly great for that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you're looking at, a golf course that's, you would think people would eat it alive because it's not 7,500 yards long.
Right. Now, who also finishes second in the European Tour event? Tonjai Jaidi. Did you know I was going to bring that up?
I knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming. Tonjai Jaidi finishes at 15 under par, tied with Miguel Angel Jimenez. A good tournament for both of them. It's good to see Chris Wood, fourth place at 13 under par. Francesco Molinari, who I believe and thought on Friday, Hugh, that was going to win this thing. Francesco looked like Thursday and Friday, that he could run away with this thing. And all of a sudden, it just seems like he puts it on the coaster brake, and all of a sudden the rest of the field just comes and starts catching up with it.
But again, it's like you said, it's the golf course. It's a shot maker's course. You've got to play your ball, stick to your game plan. And it's like he changed his game plan, and it backfired, and poof, here he is.
Well, Shane Lowry ends up, again, that attests back to you. Shane Lowry, not exactly one of the longest. He's kind of like a David Toms type player, but the golf course is a shot maker's course at Wentworth. Now, this week, all the big names are headed over to Ireland for the Northern Ireland Trust Open. And, of course, this is run by the Rory McIlroy Foundation. So it's Rory didn't make the cut at Wentworth, which was surprising.
Yeah.
Maybe he just got tired. I don't know.
He's got to be exhausted. He's played 5 or 6 in a row.
6, yeah.
I mean, that's just it wears on you.
And so now him and Graham McDowell is also headed to Northern Ireland, and they will be partaking in the Irish Open, as we talked about last week on the show. And so I'm looking forward to that because that golf course where they're playing
doesn't get any better.
No.
Does not get any better.
Folks, wait till you see some of these bunkers. Be sure to check out the coverage. Of course, they'll be carried on Golf Channel and NBC Sports, and BBC will be doing the initial broadcast and singing it out on their website. But you just you got to check out the golf course.
It's just old-style British golf. I mean, even though it's Ireland, it's, the old-school golf courses, and you look at it and you're like, where are you supposed to hit this?
Right.
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Sight lines come into play. Shot creation comes into play.
Mounds. I got to hit it over this mound to get to there and do that. It's a lot of fun, and it's going to be fun to see how they play and what they shoot and the comments that come out of this, because you just don't see enough of these golf courses nowadays on television. And
I'm glad that Rory, again, as we mentioned the other day, has stepped in, picked up this tournament. The foundation has, and to keep it going. Otherwise, it had disappeared.
Yes.
So good for Rory.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you, Mr. McIlroy. Moving on. We talked briefly about Colonial, and it turned out to be quite the shootout. And hunker down, you hairy dogs. Chris Kirk ends up bringing one in for the University of Georgia and ends up winning the Colonial, and which happens just to be one of his favorite tournaments.
Well, it's one of my favorite golf courses out there, too. It's like I said, it's old school. It's Hogan's Alley. That's one of Mr. Hogan's, and he loved that place, and you got a statue there.
And Chris actually won the Hogan Award back when he was in college, and so this was kind of an adjunctive for him in the fact that now he's won Hogan's event, and so he wins the Hogan Award. Now he gets his name on the wall, and along with the many other distinguished names that have won this event in the past. And congratulations, Chris Kirk, because he had to make a putt on 18, folks, to seal the deal, let's say. One Jordan Spieth woke up on Sunday and decided to go out and actually put some heat to the leaders. He could have done this on Saturday, but he kind of fell back a little bit. I believe just separated himself a little bit too much.
Yeah, but he admitted in his post-round interview that his bogey and 3-putt at 16 was his fault, that he made a bad decision in his club selection, and that's what he was more upset about than the fact that Chris won and made the putt and actually beat him.
Right.
He said, I beat myself. He goes, I made a bad decision. Mm-hmm. And he goes, this is something I'll learn from, and I'll move on, and let's go to the Nelson, and hopefully the weather holds out and we can get in, and it doesn't look real good. So
No, and we saw another memorable meltdown by Mr. Kevin Na. Kevin basically on Friday and Saturday was leading this event, running away with the event. It looked like could anybody catch him. And he had 3-shot lead over this person, 5-shot lead over this person, 7-shot lead over this person. And in the case in point with Chris Kirk, he started the day off at 5 behind Kevin Na. And then at the end of the round, of course, he ends up being the winner, and Kevin Na ends up shooting 3 over par. So, again, Kevin Na, he's done a lot of work to improve the speed of play.
He has.
You have to give him that.
He has.
But he also was frustrating his fellow playing partners yesterday. You could see it in their tone, their body language, and things that toward the end of the round, they had just reached a frustration level with Kevin.
Yeah.
And
I'm just glad Jason Duffner made a cut.
Well, yeah, good point. Were you glad to see Snedeker back up there at the top?
I really was. It was nice to see Sneds get back up there. Pat Perez played great on Sunday. And again, look at Kevin Kisner, another top 10. I mean, this kid's just a walking ATM at the moment, just like we used to talk about what's his face?
Well, so is Kirk. I mean, Kirk's now picked up his 4th win, again securing his spot on the President's Cup this year.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. He'll have a blast with that, and I hope this continues his stellar play. That way he can get a position on next year's Ryder Cup. So hopefully we have another Bulldog on the team.
I tell you what, kid looks pretty solid. I mean, they talk about how slow he swings and pace and this, that, and the other, but he hits it plenty far, and it just goes to show you don't have to sit there and try to nuke it to hit it somewhere.
But fluid. Liquid swing.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt about it. Good putting stroke. He's got a temperament, folks. He's got a heart rate of about 45. So it never changes. You mentioned the weather, Hugh. They had over 6 inches of rain during the event last week. They had about 7 inches before it started, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, today, tomorrow, they're anticipating anywhere from 5 to 10 inches more. Flash flooding.
Well, Houston's underwater, Corpus Christi, Austin. I know the golf course that they were supposed to do their Monday qualifier on for the Nelson yesterday was unplayable because it was flooded underwater. This is going to be a tough one. This one actually might get canceled or postponed to a later date if it's possible because they've got so much bad weather, tornadoes and some bad weather going through there. So hopefully they can get it in. I mean, the Nelson's a great golf tournament honoring a great man, and it's a fun golf course to play.
Well, they're playing TPC Four Seasons, of course, in Irvine, Texas, which is right there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And, again, the weather is going to be an impactful event for the next several days. Our weather patterns so far this year in the Midwest has just been devastating.
Oh, it has been.
First cold, ice, storms, things like that. Tornadoes now going through Texas, Oklahoma, and now we're seeing it into the golf schedule. Of course, these guys are trying to get these events in so they can get ready for the Open. But who knows? If they ended up postponing this thing, then I think you'll see a lot of guys going ahead and catching flights up to Washington to, get up to Chambers Bay. So.
Oh, yeah, especially since the USGA guy said, you better play more in this, that, and the other. Because I've heard more people talking about that on Facebook and social media.
Right.
That it's going to be an interesting U.S. Open. Ought to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to covering it with you, and of course here on TGD. And I want to thank everybody for joining us here on the Monday Morning Golf Wrap. We covered a lot in just a few minutes, but we'll be following up with you on the Northern Ireland Open, and of course we'll be bringing you up to speed on the AT&T Byron Nelson later on in the week, of course, during Roundtable and Pro Golf Talk Live. TGD Radio and TV are produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com. When visiting the Golf Director, be sure to check out our featured course pages where you'll find up-to-date information about course conditions, specials, and much more. Need help with your next golf vacation? Just call Dave. Well, we're getting pretty good at that.
We are.
Give us a call at 844-GO-GOLF-1, 844-464-6531. All of our programming is archived for listening and viewing on demand. Catch up on any show you may have missed. Click on the TGD Radio or the TGD TV tabs in the menu screen at thegolfdirector.com. We're now available on over 1 billion devices at iTunes, Audio Realm, TuneIn, YouTube, Ustream, Roku, Blueberry, and, of course, the Myrtle Beach Golf app. On behalf of HR3, Hugh Royer, George Honeycutt, and Jeff behind the glass, we want to thank you for tuning in. There's more golf news and information coming up next.